watch Amazon like I do, all the trends and interesting brands that go through there, often in sort of flurries and disappear, you may have come across these guitars. I don't know if you can see that. They are called Mugig. The brand is Mugig. And this is the only acoustic I've seen listed for them. And I got this very, very cheap because supposedly it's a Finnish blem model, but I cannot find any blems at all anywhere on this instrument. Nowhere I look. And the reason why I only bought one cheap and not the regular price, which is not that expensive, because they only go for usually 120, 140, somewhere around there, which is not a lot of money, is because I was, you know, to be perfectly frank with you, a bit suspicious of this guitar because it is solid basswood. Now, basswood is not a bad wood. It probably performs better, or has a better reputation, I should say, on electric guitars than it does on acoustic guitars. A lot of cheaply produced, particularly Asian-made instruments rely on basswood and then try to make it look like spruce. You'll see this a lot on the $50, $60 eBay specials. So I was a bit dubious of this particular guitar. It looks like an exotic hardwood, doesn't it? Look at that. It's really quite good looking guitar. And when I picked it up and tuned it, the first thing I noticed was surprisingly full. I expected it to be a lot more tinny. So I was really surprised about that. Most basswood guitars have very little tone. This one's got some tone to it. So it is a rosewood board with the block inlays. You can see that. It's got a 12th fret abalone inlay somewhere up here. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's Moog and M for Mugig. It's got this really interesting lacy white rosette, black binding with abalone edging. What looks to be a rosewood bridge with gold bridge pins, but silver or chrome tuners, which is kind of interesting. Not that it's ugly or anything, but it's just kind of an interesting choice. It's got the black heel cap, which I like, the cutaway. And it's surprisingly a decent little guitar. I mean, it really plays all right. Surprisingly, and I haven't done much setup, I might lower the action on this and get it a bit tighter. I don't think I'm going to have to do too much other than that. But anyway, this is the model on the inside. It says AG1, but I've only ever seen one model listed for this particular brand. They do have a couple of cheap electrics available. This is the only acoustic one I've seen. And because it was so cheap being sold as a second, I grabbed it just for the purposes of making a video and evaluating it for this channel. And you know, I expected it to be somewhere around the quality of the couple of guitars I reviewed lately for Glary and other companies. It's actually better, to be honest with you. The finish is better, the neck's better. There's a little bit more attention to detail. You know, it's not a high-end guitar, and the parts on it are fairly standard for cheap guitar. It looks like it might be a graphite nut and saddle, which is perhaps better than most cheap guitars. But it's actually surprisingly a decent little player. So if you run across one of these going cheap and you want a second guitar, or a guitar for a beginner or a friend or a present, you could do a lot worse than this. It's actually fairly good. It plays all the way up the neck. No buzzing or anything, and I've got room to take the action down a little bit. The fretboard's decent quality rosewood. You know, the Basswood, it might be a photo finish or something. I'm not sure if that's real wood grain or not. It looks certainly compelling, but it is listed as an all solid Basswood guitar. So could be veneered or something like that, which is often the case with these Basswood jobs, but actually plays pretty decently. So I thought I'd throw a video up on it. This is Mugig, M-I-G-I-G. Just sort of appeared on Amazon. I think they're on eBay as well. Over the last few months, I'm not sure what the provenance is or where they're from. It doesn't say anything on it other than Mugig and a model AG1. I suspect it's probably Chinese. Yeah, made in China. On the sticker on the back, they have to put those on now. But it's actually not decent. The one criticism I have of this is it pungs. It's got a whiff to it. When I got it out the case, it had a very strong chemical smell. So whatever this thick gloss is on it is certainly probably not organic. It's got a bit of a whiff to it. But other than that, I can't complain. This will make a decent guitar for someone. And it actually comes with a very decent padded bag, which is surprising. I mean, this is a $45 bag right here, easily. So I was surprised to see it come in such a decent quality gig bag. So there you go, the Mugig acoustic guitar. I think these sell for about $120, $140, somewhere in that price range. Sometimes they sell them off cheaper, but that's usually the general price range. And really, it sits well there. With a good setup, it's perfectly fine. Sounds decent. It doesn't look half bad either. All right, see you next time.